Hi there, welcome to Fun with Scratch. My name is Benji, and today we'll be learning about variables and operator blocks. Now, what are variables? Well, variables are a way to streamline code. So you can assign a value like a number, phrase, or word to a variable in order to reference the value many times. This value can stay the same or change depending on how you're using it. For example, if you're playing a game with multiple levels, the score variable may increase each time you beat a level. Let's take a look at variables and operators in Scratch by making a simple timer. First, scroll down on the left-hand panel until you find the orange blocks under the section named Variables. So you can also just click that orange tab, Variables, and then let's click Make a Variable. When naming a variable, make it something descriptive that you can remember. It should be simple enough that someone else can read it and understand what the variable represents. I'm going to create a variable called timer because that's what we're making. The next step is to decide whether this variable will apply to all sprites or just the one that we're working on. A variable that's applied to all sprites is called a global variable, but a variable applied to one sprite is called a local variable. Now for this project, it isn't significant, so I'm going to stick with applying it to all sprites. So once your variable is created, start your code with when flag is clicked. So go to Events, when flag is clicked. This will allow you to start your timer. Next, we need to choose what value to count down from. So drag and drop the orange Set My Variable block from the Variables tab. So change this tab, in the drop-down menu, change to timer because that's the variable we're going to be using, and then set it to 10. Now that we have our timer set up, we need to start counting down, and for this we can use a loop. But how do we end the code? Our timer can't run forever, it has to stop at 0. So here's where we can use an operator. Now, what are operators? Operators are a way to look and process numbers in math. Let's take a look at the green operators block. So go to the operator section. So the first four are simple addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. But some of the blocks aren't typical math. For example, the join block allows you to add two words together. Other operators compare two values like the greater than, less than, and equal to blocks. Lastly, another important group of operators are the and, or, and not blocks. They allow you to set conditions for running code. But today we're just going to be using a comparative operator. So for this loop, let's go back to control and drag and drop the repeat until block. So that's going to be the loop that we're using. And then let's go to the operators block, and we're going to be using the equal block. Now, in that operator, let's go to the variable tab and then add our variable timer, and then change this value from 50 to 0. So, now that it's set up, let's create code that will subtract value from the timer variable. Drag wait 1 second from the control block and place it inside the loop. So go to control, drag that wait 1 second block and replace it in the loop. And then go to variables again, and then put a set, change my variable by 1, and then add timer. So now it's gonna, when the flag is clicked, the timer's gonna be set to 10, and then this is our loop. It's gonna repeat until timer equals 0, and the code inside of it is it's gonna wait 1 second and then change timer by 1. So let's see what happens when I click this. Do you notice that when the flag is clicked, the timer starts counting up? So this is actually a problem. So instead of changing the timer by 1, I'm going to change it by -1. So that means it's going to count down instead of counting up. So let's try this again. Set the timer to 10, repeat until timer equals 0. We're going to wait 1 second and then change it by -1. It should count down from 10 until it equals 0. Then the code should stop. Let's see what happens. 10, 9, 8. Alright, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect, and the code stops. Our timer's at 0. Exactly what we wanted. Good job. So you've created a functional timer. Now let's have some fun with it. Let's drag the purple play sound meow block to the very end of the code outside of the loop. So go to sound, and then play sound meow. Perfect. Put that at the end of your code. And then next drag the indigo say hello block after it and change it so it says time's up instead. So that's going to be in looks. Grab that say hello block for 2 seconds. And then change the text inside of it to say time's up. Okay, now our code should run the timer as normal, and then once it's done, the sound is going to be played. And then it's going to say time's up. So watch what happens. 10, 9, 8. Obviously, it'll count down. And then there's that meow, and then the cat says time's up. Perfect. So today we used variables and operators to create a timer. Now variables are a way to store information, and operators help with functions, numbers, and math. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks for watching Fun with Scratch.